Hi there. So in this video we're going to be talking about how you can use proportions to make measurement conversions. So we're really going to be focusing more on converting between measurement systems, so going from the customary unit to a metric unit. But before we do that, a lot of the questions assume that you already know how to convert within each system. So we're going to go ahead and review that before we get started on converting between systems. So the first system is what we use here in the United States, and we call these customary units. I'm sure you've heard of them: foot, yard, mile, pound, ton, cup, pint, quart, gallons. And you may have been taught different ways to convert between like a foot and a mile in elementary school, but we just want to apply what we've been learning about proportions to measurement. So I'm going to show you a way to do that with proportions. And the great thing about using a proportion is that you really, once you understand how to use a proportion, you'll never have to guess about how to solve a measurement conversion. You won't be guessing between multiplying and dividing. All right, so the way that it works is that you're just going to set up your word ratio like you've been doing before. So if you're converting 5 pounds into ounces, then those are the two words you want to use, pounds and ounces. You can abbreviate this. I'm just going to spell it out to start with. And then you're going to set up your 4 boxes, 4 parts to the proportion. You're going to take this first set of boxes and pull that from information you know about pounds and ounces. So like right up here we have the measurements that are given to you, like on the star chart that comes with your STAR test, is also available to you when you're testing in class. And so you can find a relationship between pounds and ounces from this, or if you've worked some with, we'll talk about that in a minute. If you've worked with land of gallon, that is something you can use also when you're trying to figure out how to convert within the customary system. In this case, it doesn't work for us because we're not converting with a capacity type unit. We're using weight instead, so we'll have to go with what we see here. So 1 pound, and notice the abbreviation for pound is LB, so that's a good thing to know. Is 16 ounces, is equal to 16 ounces. So I want to go ahead and fill in my first set of boxes with 1 pound and 16 ounces. And then because I'm converting 5 pounds into ounces, the 5 is going to go at the top with the other pounds, and then X is what I don't know, is what I'm solving for. So I can see in this case, I'm going to multiply and then divide by 1. Really all I need to do is multiply. So 16 times 5 is 30, carry your 3, and that would be 80. So I know that 5 pounds is equal to 80 ounces. Okay? All right, I'm going to do the same thing with ounces to cups. So I'm going to start with my words, ounces to cups. And you can use the abbreviations if you want. Set up my 4 spaces for my proportion. So I know that I need to know the relationship between ounces and cups. So when I look up here, it does tell me ounces to cups. But let's say it was wanting to do ounces to pints. So there's not a... there's nothing given here that goes directly from ounces to pints. So that's when this little land of gallon thing can be useful. And if you've forgotten about land of gallon, just ask me for it in class. I think most of you have seen it, so I'm not going to review it here. All right, so ounces to cups, I know that I need to put 8 ounces with 1 cup, and then I'm converting from 28 ounces, so that's going to go on top with my ounces, and X is what I don't know. So on this one, I'm going to multiply 28 times 1 and then divide by 8. So 28 divided by 8. 8 will go into 28. 3 times would be 24. When I subtract, I get 4. Add a decimal, bring that up. Add a 0 and bring that down. 8 will go into 45 times. And so I know that 28 ounces is equal to 3.5 or 3.5 cups. All right, you can use the same idea with the metric system, but the metric system is really easy to convert between, which is why so many other countries use it. In fact, America is one of the last countries to not use the metric system, but it's becoming more common here, so it's good to to know. So most of you probably, again, learned something in elementary school to help you remember the units for the metric system. We like this one, King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. And the first letter of all of these words kind of helps you know the prefix that goes with all the metric measurements. So King Henry stands for kilo, and that's going to be abbreviated with a K. Henry stands for hecto, which is abbreviated with an H. Died is deca, and that can be spelled with a K or a C. You'll see it both ways. And the abbreviation for deca is DA. By is the basic unit, and so in the metric system you've got grams, meters, and liters. So these are the same type of length, weight, and capacity you had in the customary system. Drinking stands for deci, and that's just abbreviated with a D. Chocolate is centi, which uses a C, and milk is milli, which uses the M. And when you're converting within the metric system, basically each step you take is equal to one unit of 10. And so if you're going from, let's say, grams to kilograms, then you're getting bigger, and each step you're getting bigger by a multiple of 10. If you're going from grams to milligrams, then each step you take is getting smaller by a factor of 10. All right? So this is kind of the directions telling you what to do. So if you're converting to a smaller unit, you can easily divide by 10 by moving your decimal point to the right. And then you can make your measurement larger. You can make a smaller term of measurement like grams into kilograms by just moving the decimal to the left. Okay? All right, so this is how it works. If I'm starting with 16 centimeters, what I want to do is find centimeters on the chart somewhere. So this is my centimeters, and I'm moving to millimeters. So since I'm going down one step, I'm going to the right one step, and that just tells me I want to move my decimal one step to the right as well. So in 16 centimeters, there is no decimal here. All right, so I know that a decimal comes at the end of a whole number, just like a period comes at the end of the sentence. And so I said I was going to move my decimal one space, one unit to the right. So if I move over one space to the right, there's not a number there, so I have to fill that in with a 0. Okay, so what that tells me is that 16 centimeters is really 160 millimeters. All right, if I look at 1.4 kilometers, I'm starting with the K over here, and I'm moving to M, which is just a basic unit, meter. And so I can see that that's going to take 1, 2, 3 steps to get from kilometers into meters. So that means I'm going to move my decimal 3 spaces as well. And since I'm moving to the right here, I'm going to move my decimal to the right here as well. So I have 1.4, I'm going to move 3 spaces, which means I'm going to have to fill this in with 2 zeros. So that's the equivalent of 1,400 meters. Then my last example here, I'm starting with 109 grams. So grams would be a basic unit again. I'm moving to kilograms this time. So I'm moving this time from the basic unit to the kilogram. So I'm going up, kind of up the steps here. Again, I want to count the number of steps I have to take. So from grams to kilograms would be 1, 2, 3 spaces. But this time I'm moving to the left. So I want to move my decimal to the left as well, 3 spaces. So that, again, if the decimal is not in the number, we know that it comes at the end of the number. So 3 spaces to the left, that's the decimal in front of the 1. So 109 grams is really 0.109 kilograms. Now again, with metric system, you could use a proportion, but it's really so much easier just to move your decimal back and forth that we don't even really bother to show you how to do it with a proportion. But they do assume when you get to this, when we get to the other side, that that you would be able to move within the system pretty easily. Okay. All right. So the new part of what we're doing is how do you do, like if you're in a European country and you're used to miles and you're used to feet and you're used to pounds, how do you convert what you're given in with the metric system into something you're more familiar with? Well, that's when you have to use this type of conversion. All right, so for example, if I want to convert 36.5 inches into centimeters, again, that can be done with a proportion, kind of like what we did just a little earlier. We're converting from inches to centimeters, and so we're just going to set up a set of boxes here. We're going to look for the right conversion. So something within here that goes from inches to centimeters. I have inches here, centimeters here. So that's telling me that 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. I'm going to fill that in and as one of my ratios. And then since I'm converting 36.5 inches, that goes on top with the inches. And then x is what I don't know. So to solve this, I'm just going to multiply and then divide by 1, which is really just multiplying in this case. So 36.5 times 2.54, and that would be 20. 24 plus 2 is 26. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 2 is 14. I'm going to start with a 0. 5 times 5 is 25. Carry the 2. 5 times 6 is 30, plus 2 is 32. Carry the 3. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 3 is 18. I'm going to start with 2 zeros. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 6 is 12, plus 1 is 13. And then 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. All right, so if we add these up, I'm going to end up with 1 plus 8 is 9, plus 3 is 12. Looks like 92710. And then remember, I need to count my decimals. So 1, 2, 3 decimal places. So 1, 2, 3 decimal places. So this is 92.710. It says round to the nearest hundredths. This is in the hundredths, so I don't need to round anything. And this is in centimeters. So now I've converted from inches into centimeters. So depending on where you are, that would be helpful to know. All right, so we have some exercises here. It says 2 cups into milliliters. So I want to go from cups to milliliters. I'm going to set up my proportion. If I go up here and look for cups in milliliters, I can see 1 cup is 236.59 milliliters. So 1 cup is equal to 236.59 milliliters. I'm converting 2 cups. That would be on top here. And then I'm just going to solve it. So this is a multiplication problem. 236.59 times 2, 18. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11. 2 times 6 is 12, plus 1 is 13. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. 2 times 2 is 4. And I have 2 decimal places, so 2 decimal places here. And if I divide it by 1, I'm just going to end up with the same thing. This is the hundredths place, so there's no need to round. So this would be 473.18 milliliters. All right, number 2 says to convert from pints into milliliters. So pints. If I look up here, I can see that I can go from 1 pint to 473.18 milliliters. Notice that there's this little squiggly thing. That's, instead of equals, they make it squiggly because it's not exactly 473. This means about 473, so they're just kind of giving you an estimate here, and they're using that symbol to tell you that it's not exact. So 1 pint into 473.18. And then I want to know 4.8 pints, so that's on top here. Again, I'm really just going to need to multiply 473. Oops, sorry, you can't see that. 473.18 times 4.8. 8 times 8 is 64. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 6 is 14. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 1 is 25. 8 times 7 is 56, plus 2 is 58. 8 times 4 is 32, plus 5 is 37. Start with a 0. 4 times 8 is 32. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 is 7. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 7 is 28, plus 1 is 29. And then 4 times 4 is 16, plus 2 is 18. Adding these up, I'm going to get 11, 12. 2271,264. There's 1, 2, 3 decimal places. That puts my decimal right here at 2271.26. So I do have 3 decimal places, so this number is written to the thousandths place. So when I round to the nearest hundredth, that's the 6. Since the 4 is not 5 or greater, then it just becomes a 0. I'm not going to round up, so this is really just 2,271.26 milliliters. Number 3 says 16 miles. I'm converting into kilometers, so miles to kilometers. Notice the difference between the abbreviation for miles and meters. So meters is just an M, miles is the MI here. So let's see. miles. I'm converting to kilometers. So 1 mile is 1.61 kilometers. 1 mile, 1.61. Okay, and I know 16 miles is what I need to change. And then again, I'm really just multiplying 1.61 times 16. So that's 6. Let's see, 36 would be 9. Start with a 0, 1, 6, 1, 6, 7, 15, 2, 5, 7, 6. And there are 2 decimal places. This is to the hundredths place, so I don't need to round. 25.76 kilometers. All right, so we just multiply. Here I'm converting from quarts to liters. So quarts to liters. I'm going to set this up. Quarts to liters. All right, so when I go looking for quarts, here's quarts, and I want to change it into liters, but all they give me is milliliters. So what I have to do is go ahead and change it into milliliters, and then once I have the milliliters, I have to change that into liters. So I have to do 2 steps here, since I don't have anything else to tell me, since I can't go directly into liters. So 1 quart was 946.35 milliliters. So I'm actually going to do milliliters first. And I'm converting 20 quarts. So again, this is multiplying. Now you will have to sometimes divide. So far all we've looked at is multiplication, but it is sometimes a division problem. So 946.35 times 20. So since I have a 0 here, I'm just going to add a 0, a row of zeros. And then I'm going to start with a 0. 2 times 5 is 10. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. 2 times 6 is 12. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. 2 times 9 is 18. That's 0, 0, 7, 2, 9, 8, 1. There's 1, 2 decimal places, so 1, 2. So right at the end. Okay, so I know that this is 18,927 milliliters, but since I'm converting to liters, I need to know how to do that. So remember, on the other side, we talked about King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. All right, so milliliters is over here with milli. Okay, and I'm converting to liters, which is a basic unit, so that would be over here. That's going to take me 1, 2, 3 steps to the left. So I'm going to start from the decimal, which is at the end of the number. So 1, 2, 3 steps to the left. Puts the decimal between the 8 and the 9, so this is really 18. Oh, this is 18.927 liters, but I'm rounding to the nearest hundredth. So this is a thousandths place. So 2 is in the hundredths place. Since 7 is greater than 5, that's going to round up to a 3. So this is 18.93 liters. All right, on number 5, 4.2 yards into centimeters. Starting with yards, changing to centimeters. So here, when I look for yards to centimeters, I only have yards to meters, so I need to start there first. 1 yard is 0.91 meters, right? And then I'm going to do 4.2 yards. So again, multiplication, 0.91 times 4.2 is 218. Start with a 0, 4, and 36. You add these up. 3822, there was 1, 2, 3 decimal places, so 3.822. Okay, but this is in meters, 3.822 meters, and I need to go to centimeters. I'm sorry, you cannot see that. Okay, into centimeters. So if I remember the whole King Henry died again by drinking chocolate milk, and I can see that I'm right here right now at meters. Meters is the basic unit, and I need to move to centimeters. That would be 1, 2 steps to the right. So I need to move my decimal 1, 2 steps to the right. That puts it between the 2 2's. So this is 382.2 centimeters. Okay. All right, the last one, I'm moving from T. This T is standing for ton right here, in case you don't know these. And then remember, pound is LB, so if it helps, you can write those abbreviations there so you know. So I'm going from tons to kilograms. All right, so if I look at the top, tons to kilograms, 1 ton is 907.2 kilograms. Put it back up here, 1 ton is 907.2 kilograms. All right, so then I'm changing 2 tons into kilograms, so 2 would go up here. And I'm just gonna need to multiply. 907.2 times 2 is gonna be 4, 14, 1, and then 18. There's 1 decimal place. Okay, so this is to the 10th place, so there's no need to round. This would be 1,814.4 kilograms. Okay, so real quick, just to review, when you're converting between measurement systems, you're just setting up a proportion like you've done before. And then just be careful, because sometimes you can't go directly from one measurement system to the other. Sometimes you're going to need to change it again after you get that conversion. So just remember how to do that usually it's within the metric system, so you can just remember that that little saying to help you decide if you're moving left or right and how many spaces. All right, see you soon.